Welcome back. I'm your host, Leslie Cottle, and you are listening to This Empowered Life podcast, the podcast delivering tools, knowledge, and wisdom to empower the soul. Today's episode is called How to Hold Space in a Conversation. If you've ever wondered how to support your friends, family, or even colleagues even more, keep on listening. Holding space might look like the yoga teacher creating a welcoming and safe environment. Holding space might look like being the sounding board for a friend. Holding space might look like a parent allowing a child to be angry or frustrated or go through their own process of doing things. Holding space might look like a coach witnessing their client in their process. There are many ways to hold space. And what holding space is a conscious effort to allow someone else to be where they are at. And the extra step that we get to go is by assisting in creating a safe environment for that person to be in their process. So as someone who is holding space, you are consciously withholding your own opinions, your own judgments, your own process, how you see that things work. You're holding all of that, everything about how you think the world works or how you see the world works. And we're going to park that at the door. And then we're witnessing someone else in their own process, where they're at, and allowing them to do that. Holding space is an incredible gift we can give to other people because it empowers them to see that they don't need advice from anyone else and that they have all of the answers. So I'm sure that you have people in your life who you know are really good listeners. And on the flip side, I am also sure that you have people in your life who haven't quite honed in on their listening skills yet and always seem to make the conversation about them. So this is really great because it means that you have experience with people who hold space well in conversations. And the amazing part of that is that the human brain learns by mirroring and mimicking what it sees to bring concepts and skills into consciousness. So this means that because you know what receiving holding space is, or a good listener, you're also going to have a lot easier of a time replicating it for people who you love and care about most. So also what I'm talking about later in this episode is going to be able to land with you even more. So right now, if you're listening also and thinking, oh gosh, I am definitely that person who's always bringing the conversation back to me or always referring my experience or my life points, that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a bad listener, and we all do this sometimes. And even more, we have really great conversations sharing information and stories like this. But if this is you, you can also learn when to consciously turn off the conversationalist and turn on the space holder when you see that it's time that someone really needs you to hold that space for them. And this is often a time when someone is coming to us when they're venting about something, when they are upset about something, when they're working through something, when they're angry, they're sad, they're worried, anytime that they're making a big life decision. So why is this a good time to be, or why are all of these things good times to hold space for someone? Is because people should not be basing their life off of your life experiences. Right? So your life has been magically created to help you and your lessons that you're learning in your life. And their life is going to be exactly the same. So what might work really perfectly for you and make sense for you is not going to be the advice that someone else needs. At the end of the day, what someone really needs to be supported in their process is by showing them that they should trust themselves. So they need to hone in on their own experiences. They need to know what feels right for them. They need to know what they're feeling inside their mind and body. They need to feel very capable of finding this solution for themselves. And also, it's so nice to have someone holding this space for them to show them and to even say out loud sometimes to them that they are the very best medicine for their own challenges and conflicts in their life. And they have everything that they need to find what's going to fit them in this moment. So the worst thing that we can do in this situation is give someone advice or bring our own life experiences into this place where they need to be supported in a different way. And what happens when we do that is it's very disempowering. It teaches someone to seek answers outside of themselves, and it takes someone away from the nature of who they are. And if these are people that you care about and love a lot, we're not trying to encourage someone to be someone that they're not or to be us. We want to encourage them to be themselves and empower them to be themselves. So here are 4 quick tips on how to hold space for someone in a conversation. So number 1, first, we are parking all of our personal opinions and beliefs at the door. Meaning if this person says that they believe in aliens and you don't, let them believe in aliens and live in their world for a moment. If they want a new job that you don't think is meant for them, you got to remember it's not your life, it's theirs. If what they're saying seems very impossible to you, remember that those are your limitations and not theirs. So we don't want to put our own expectations of life or limitations on someone else and their life. So really allow yourself to live in their world for a moment and let them live in it too. And also let's remember that holding space is a learned skill. Meaning if this is really new to you, and even when it's not really new to you, it's a big practice. The brain has this funny little way of telling us, of like letting us know that we need to interject, we need to give them advice. We're judging them like, oh, I know what's right here. So this is a process for you too, where you're going to notice these things coming up, but remembering that your job is to remain neutral and to let this person go through their process. And also I like to mention to people that like, if you're super in doubt and you're really not sure what to say to someone, silence is an option, as well as just nodding your head and saying, tell me more. I want to know more. It's wild how long a conversation can go on about that with just that one sentence. So tip number 2 is to acknowledge, meaning let someone know that you're seeing them. I always want to stress that it's very important that as someone who's holding space, you're also telling the truth. So it might be very simple as saying, I see you're frustrated. I see you found something that you're really passionate about. I see you're really energized by this. Just something acknowledging how they're feeling in the moment or what they're expressing to you. I see your blank. And number 3 is encourage and empower, which is very similar to acknowledging, but we're encouraging and empowering people by pointing out to them their strengths and what you see as possible for them. So my go-to phrases for this are usually, I like to tell people that they're really brave, or that they seem really clear on what they want, or that they seem really passionate about what it is. I like to just let them know that like this thing that they're expressing to me is incredible. It's a gift for them. It's a gift for me to be able to witness them in their process. And like the answer is just yes. Always yes. But above all, make sure it's true. And the last tip is we're going to ask helpful questions. Now, this is one where we need to be really, really mindful about what we're saying to other people, remembering that we have parked our own experience at the door. So the questions that we're going to ask aren't about the process or how are you going to do this, but by helping them build on what they've already shared with you. So it might be as simple as saying to them, oh, how do you feel about that? Or something like, nice. Does that feel aligned to you? Or you could even get them to check in with themselves and say, how does that sit with you? So all of these questions are going to help the person give themselves a gut check to decide for themselves what it is that they're right. So we're pointing them inward rather than outward looking for advice. We're telling them to check in with themselves. So I hope this was very helpful on how to hold space for someone in a conversation and how we can remove our experience in order to fully support someone in their own process. Tune in Tuesdays for more yummy and soulful episodes. If you love what you're hearing and want to support the podcast, please follow and rate the podcast on Spotify and Apple to help new listeners find us. To find out more about my coaching and healing practice, head over to my website, www.lesliecottle.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.